Okay. Come on. Oh boy. Hang on, everybody. Instagram, I need y'all to get this together, man. Public. Next. Copy. Okay. That's not right. I give up. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm your instructor, Pierre Hui, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience, perseverance. Pass your Barber Theory exams, pass your practical, etc., etc., etc. Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, StreamYard, etc., etc., etc. All right. If you don't know who I am, I help people with their Barber Theory exams. I am a barber of 29 going on 30 years. I am a barber instructor of 9 going on 10 years. Okay. And if you or anybody that you know is having trouble with their Barber Theory exam, I'm your guy. Okay. I helped a bunch of people just get over the hump, so to speak, so they can pass their Barber Theory exams. They can pass their barber exams. They can get their license. All right. And also, we generally do public study. Public study means I go through this book, but I go through it in general. All right. If you are in a position where you need more focused study, more personalized study, things of that nature, I do have a pre-recorded course that is aptly called Pass Barber Theory. All right. It is a paid course, but it has more high percentage questions in there, meaning we find all the things in the book that have a 75 to 80% or chance or higher of being on your exam. All right. We took all of that and we whittled everything down. We chiseled it down to all the pertinent information. But again, that is a paid course. You have to pay for it, and it is pre-recorded. All right. With that being said, our public study, we correspond the days of the week to the domains of the exam, which is provided per the CIB. My CIB is in the state of South Carolina. That's where I'm based. That's where I apply my practice. That's where I cut hair. That's where I teach. Okay. Now, with that being said, CIB stands for Candidate Information Bulletin. We break it down into 4 domains. You have scientific concepts, hair care services, facial hair and skincare services, and implements, tools, and equipment. And what I'm going to do is let you see it. Here we go. All right. So Mondays, we do scientific concepts. Tuesdays, hair care services. Wednesday, facial hair and skincare services. And Thursday, we do implements, tools, and equipment. With that being said, today is Monday, December 2nd. Y'all, it's already December. Can you believe that? What's up, Cassie? How you doing? Good morning. All right. We have scientific concepts. 35% of your exam is going to be dealing with scientific concepts. So guess what we're going to do today on Monday, which is Scientific Concepts Day. Guess what we're going to do? Oh, we're going to talk about it, right? Okay. You have 5 points of contact: A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. A is infection control. Wait a minute. Infection control and safety practices. B, human anatomy and physiology. C, identify signs and symptoms of conditions, disorders, and diseases related to the skin. D, all of that related to hair. And E, basic chemistry of products used in barbering. Okay. For all my TikTokers, If you want to be able to see the CIB, just go to my YouTube channel. It's the same thing as my name, PIERREHOUEY. Okay. All right. So by request, I have been asked to talk more about the, show more of the points of contact before we get into what we're going to study. So let's talk about it. So A, infection control safety practices. Number 1, identify how disease and infection are caused and transmitted. 2, apply principles of infection control, which is A, sanitation and cleansing, B, disinfection, C, sterilization, and D, contamination and cross-contamination. 3, apply blood exposure procedures. 4, identify requirements of government agencies related to public protection, as in the CDC, OSHA, and the EPA. B, human anatomy and physiology. Good morning. Number 1, identify function and structure of the hair and scalp, and B, of the skin. 2, identify bones related to the head and face, and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Okay, y'all, let's talk about this one for a second. So, when you go in the anatomy chapter, there are things that are far less pertinent and important, and things that are more pertinent and important. And through the CIB, they just told you, identify bones related to the head and face, and B, neck, shoulders, upper back. So, you will not see any questions about your knees, your ankles, things like that. You might see something about your wrist, your pelvic bone, and all that stuff, because they told you in the CIB what they're looking for. Now, here's the thing about it. You are expected to look and read and comprehend your CIB. If you do not, that is on you. You can't blame anybody else. You can't be mad at anybody else. You can't be mad at State Board. You can't call them on the phone and say, hey, man, this is some BS. You can't do that, because they're going to say, hey, did you look at your CIB? And then you say, no, I didn't. I don't even know what a CIB is. Well, they know you haven't really truly been studying, and you haven't been paying attention. And most of all, you have not been following directions. That's really what this is about. State Board want to know. Excuse me for a second so you can see me. State Board wants to know, can you follow directions? One of their first directions is read this handbook, understand this handbook, comprehend this handbook. They'll know if you do. They will definitely know if you don't, though. 3, identify muscles and joints and their functions related to, again, the head and face, and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Are they asking about calf muscles? They are not. Are they asking about thigh muscles, stomach muscles, chest muscles? No, they're not. Even though, for whatever reason, all that shit is in the old version of this book. This is Milady's Barbering 6th edition. But here's the thing, y'all. They are going to come up in about 3.5 more weeks. They're coming out with the new book, which I'm excited about. But I was told that they didn't really stray too far from the information that's already in here. But the jury is out on that. It remains to be seen. I hope their anatomy and physiology, that, you know, they focus on the more pertinent information for barbering. But if not, you got me. Okay. Good morning, everybody. All right. 4, understand the functions of the body systems. You have A, the nervous system, B, circulatory system, C, endocrine system, and D, integumentary system. All right. So to understand the functions, see, it's more here than what you're reading. Here's what I mean. So to understand the functions of the body systems, you have to be able to identify the body systems. Does that make sense? You have to know what the nervous system is before you can identify functions. Circulatory, endocrine, integumentary. You have to know what they are before you can talk about the functions of them. Okay. C, identify signs and symptoms of conditions, disorders, and diseases related to the skin. Okay, you got your types and you got your treatments. D, identify signs and symptoms of conditions, disorders, and diseases related to the hair. Once again, you got the types, you got the treatments. Okay. Then E, basic chemistry of products used in barbering. This is different from basic chemistry. All right. They said basic chemistry of the products used in barbering. So not only do you have to be aware of the chemistry, you also got to be aware of the chemistry within the products. What products are we talking about? We talking about shampoos. We talking about conditioners. We talking about permanent wave lotion. We talking about colors. All the different types of colors that we may use. So you may use semi-permanent, demi-permanent, permanent, things like that, or color rinses. All of those. You got to understand the chemistry of those. You got to understand the chemistry of. I just had it. I lost it. Developer. You got to use when you are lifting the hair. You got to understand the mixing of the lightener and the developer. Or if you're using like a permanent color, it uses a certain type of developer. You have to be aware of the volumes and all that stuff. All that stuff has to do with the chemistry of the products. Polymath 257. Good morning. Poly is one of my favorite words, by the way. That's another story for another day. All right. Understand the chemical pH scale. Understand purpose and effects of products, ingredients, and their interactions. And what they mean by that is, let's say some oxidation is taking place. You have to understand what oxidation is, why does it happen, and what are some things that may affect a change like oxidation. Okay. 3, understand interactions among the chemicals themselves. Give you an example. When you're mixing developer with powder lightener, you have to understand what is that doing and what kind of effect is that going to have with each other when you're putting it together. When you're mixing developer with a permanent color, you have to understand why do you mix developer with a permanent color. All right. Chat, what's up? What's up? What's up? Chat, welcome to the chat. Good morning. Always a pleasure. 4, understand chemical reactions, as in overexposure, chemical burn, inhalation. Okay. Chemical reactions are more the chemistry chapter. So it pays to study the chemical chapter just as a whole, because once you have that foundation, then it makes sense when you start dealing with the chemistry of the products and the effect of these chemical products on the hair. All right. So it's really 3 parts to that than just 1 or 2. Okay. All right. So we just went through the whole scientific concepts part, 35%. Now we're going to find something to study a little bit more. But let me say this. Scientific concepts is the most failed. It is the most troublesome. It is the one that everybody fears the most. I've seen more questions missed on scientific concepts than out of all 4 domains put together. Okay. Now it just comes down to scientific concepts. Don't nobody want to study this shit. I get it. I understand. But that's what I'm here for. And again, I got a paid class for this shit. And on top of that, I will be very, very soon breaking them down into sections where you can just pay for. If you want to pay just for a scientific concepts course, then get ready for it. You can find me everywhere at Pierre Huey, Pierehouey. All right, so let's find where our study point was last time. I think we had studied the function and structure of the hair and scalp of the skin. So what we will do today is we will talk about part 2, which is identify bones related to the head and face and the neck, shoulders, and upper back. Okay. So let's start there. And that will be an anatomy course. But what I like to do, go to my index. And for all my new folks, all my new TikTokers, Instagrammers, etc., please follow me all social media platforms at Pierre Hui. Because in addition to this, I love talking about movies and TV, which I've seen a bunch of over the holiday weekend. So I'm ready to talk about some shit, particularly Cross. Cross was dope as hell. I'm a big Patterson fan. I've read all his Alex Cross books. So to see them do it this way, it felt very, very close to the books. Shout out to Aldous Hodge, who was in City on a Hill. So I already knew what was up. Let's see. Bones. Are you kidding? Okay. So now we are going to go to page 148. If you got your Milady book, it is on page 148. All right. Let's talk about skeletal system. Skeletal system forms the physical foundation of the body. It is composed of 206 bones that vary in size and shape and are connected by movable and immovable joints. Osteology is the study of the anatomy, structure, and function of the bones. Os means bone. It is used as a prefix in many medical terms such as osteoarthritis, which is known as a joint disease. Except for the tissue that forms the major part of the teeth, bone is the hardest tissue in the body. It is composed of connective tissue consisting of about 1/3 organic matter such as cells and blood, and 2/3 minerals, mainly calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. The primary functions of the skeletal system are to do what? Do the following: give shape and support to the body, protect various internal structures and organs, serve as attachments for muscles and act as levers to produce body movement, help produce both white and red blood cells, which is one of the functions of bone marrow, and store most of the body's calcium supply as well as phosphorus, magnesium, and sodium. Okay? A joint is the connection between two or more bones of the skeleton. There are two types of joints: movable, such as elbows, knees, and hips, and immovable, such as the joints found in the pelvis and the skull, which allow little or no movement. There are exceptions to this condition, such as childbirth, where special hormones allow for flexibility of the pelvic joints. All right, now let's get to the important part. Again, today we're doing scientific concepts, part A, part B, number 2, identifying bones related to the what? Head and face. Here we are. What's up, bits? All right, look, if y'all are not following one of my good, wonderful, great, amazing friends, Chrome Woman, go follow my girl Betsy right now. All right, skull is the skeleton of the head. It is divided into two parts. You have the cranium, which is an oval, bony case that protects the brain. And then you have the facial skeleton, the framework of the face that is composed of 14 bones. Now, let's talk about the cranium. The bones of the cranium are the following. You got the occipital bone, the parietal bones, the frontal bone, temporal bones, ethmoid bone, and the sphenoid bone. All right. Now let's break those down. Occipital bone. It is the hindmost bone of the skull below the parietal bones and forms the back of the skull above the nape. The parietal bone. Bones that form the sides and top of the cranium. There are two parietal bones. Frontal bone. It is the bone that forms the forehead. The temporal bones form the sides of the head in the ear region, and it's two of those as well. The ethmoid bone is the light spongy bone between the eye sockets. It forms part of the nasal cavities, and the sphenoid bone is the bone that joins all of the bones of the cranium together. All right. If you are in your Milady books on page 149, they got a diagram of it. That's something that I found out that I cannot show. If I can come up with an alternate diagram then that's something that I can show, and that's something that I will show, but I have to work on that. Okay. But if you want to see the diagram, you can go to your Milady book, and it's on page 149. All right. Okay. And we are going to, after we identify the bones of the face, we will have satisfied number 2A. Okay. That is our main course of study today. And like I said, I like to keep the study session short so you can retain this information. And if you want more detail about all this stuff, like I said, you can pay for the class. Okay. All right. Bones of the face. 14 bones of the face, but those listed below are the most involved in the practice of barbering. You got the nasal bones. Those are the bones that form the bridge of the nose. There are 2 of those, of course. Lacrimal bones are small, thin bones located at the front inner wall of the orbits of the eye sockets. There are 2 of those. Zygomatic bones, also known as malar bones, are cheek bones. Bones that form the prominence of the cheeks. There are 2 of those. Then you have the maxillae, bones of the upper jaw. There are 2 maxillae. And then you have the mandible. It is the lower jawbone. All this. Largest. This is the largest and strongest bone of the face. Okay. All right. That being said, we identified some scientific concepts. We identified a point of contact within scientific concepts, and then we did identifying the bones related to the head and face. So next time we do scientific concepts, we'll be probably identifying bones related to the neck, shoulders, upper back, that type of thing. Okay. With that being said, let me remove this here so you can see my face. Okay. If you or anybody that you know can use my help in passing your Barber Theory, passing your Barber Practical, again, I'm your guy. Okay. You can find any links to the classes or the courses in the description of this video right here. If you're on TikTok, you can find it. Just go into my profile, in my DM, etc., etc. But yeah, you can find this class anywhere. Anywhere that you can find me, anywhere you can find this class. And I'm on all social media platforms at Pierre Huey, Pierrehouey. You can find me everywhere. Okay. With that being said, today is Monday. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Monday. Class is dismissed. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.